This week on the pod, we talk about two movies that deal with young people facing some pretty wild challenges.
That's right. The first one deals with the superhero problems in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Then the second deals with workplace and relationship problems in I Want Your Sex.
Glad to hear we're back with the colons. But for TV, we will be discussing Silos, Season 3, Episode 5, titled Memory, which I'm sure involves memory problems.
Well, I'm not sure if we can fix all those problems, but we certainly can talk through them since, this is...
we should watch that episode 19. Wow, that was pretty smooth.
With Ashley and Sushi, feel the vibes, it's a night so lush.
Hey, Sushi.
Yeah?
Our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is back.
Don't I know it?
Spider-Man Brand New Day, Spider-Man: Brand New Day is the latest entry in the MCU, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The film sees Tom Holland return as Peter Parker alongside Zendaya as MJ, Jacob Batalon as Ned, and John Bernthal as the Punisher, amongst many others. And the film follows Peter Parker as he tries to move forward in a world where no one remembers who he is. But when a new threat emerges, Peter's pulled back into action, forcing him to balance out the ordinary life he'd like to build with the responsibilities that come with being, Spider-Man. So, Sush, I know you have a lot of opinions on this one. Tell me, what you think?
Well, it's a Spider-Man movie and Tom Holland is still playing Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Yay.
So it wasn't going to take much to get me to see this. I've been following a lot of the news surrounding the movie on YouTube and been checking out whatever I happen to come across on social media about it. So I saw the trailer within hours, maybe minutes after it dropped. In the first full trailer, we basically see Peter dealing with the aftermath of Spider-Man No Way Home with the knowledge of Peter's entire existence being wiped from the universe. So basically, no one knows Peter Parker as a person from before that point in time, just that Spider-Man exists.
So rough.
Yeah. There's a new threat that seems to be able to jump between bodies. We get appearances by the Punisher, the Ninja Crime Syndicate, the Hand, Hulk, Scorpion, and probably some others I might have forgotten or can't mention for spoiler reasons. Overall, just a great looking trailer continuing the ongoing saga of Spider-Man played by Tom Holland. At this point, I think that Holland has played Spider-Man in live action movies more than any other actor.
Oh.
But he's just, for lack of a better word, amazing playing
He's
both
so good.
Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Yeah. And not that I needed to see it to be reminded, but seeing the final trailer that has scenes pulled from each of the previous Spider-Man films really helps drive the point home, like how much he's gone through and grown.
Right.
He looks like a baby in that first movie comparatively. But even experiencing all that, I don't think I was at all prepared for how good this movie ended up being. There's no doubt that Marvel Studios and Sony, specifically just for the Spider-Man movies, since we weirdly can't say the same about any of the movies with Spider-Man associated characters that they put out, like Madam Web and Kraven and all that, kind of have a formula for these movies that includes not only superhero action and adventure, but also incorporates a good amount of humor, drama, and occasionally other genres as well to create movies that appeal to pretty much anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
Even with that being the case, I've thought about my own experience with MCU and Spider-Man films since Avengers Endgame. And even though I really enjoyed Far From Home and No Way Home, I can't say I felt the same about most of the MCU releases during that period of time. So based on all that, I figured that this new Spider-Man movie would be about as good as the other two that came out. But that turned out to be a complete understatement. The best way I can describe why this movie felt so exceptional is that in every moment that it isn't being a great superhero movie, it's just being an absurdly good movie, regardless of what tone the movie is calling for at any point of the story. beyond that, the storytelling happens so effortlessly. I'm even amazed at how they decided to create the montage to show everything that's taken place over 4 years at the start of the movie. I think the number one thing I realized soon after the movie started was that I forgot that the fallout of the spell Doctor Strange casted in No Way Home hadn't really been explored.
Right.
Mostly because we did get a short scene ending that movie where Peter has to face MJ for the first time since he was wiped from everyone's memory. But it seems like Peter kind of accepts the situation and decides not to follow through with the plan he had earlier to tell her and Ned about everything that led to them forgetting about his existence. Also, being an MCU fan that watches all the movies and nearly all the shows, and my focus more recently gravitating towards a lot of the news regarding Avengers Doomsday and maybe the recent satisfaction that I felt with Wonder Man and the last season of Daredevil Born Again and Thunderbolts. Maybe I just started feeling more upbeat about the MCU in general. So I just didn't have as much writing on this movie needing to be good. But still, none of that was able to keep me from being well aware of how good the movie really was.
Yeah.
I'll start with the visuals, mostly because I want to acknowledge that even as a superhero movie, this is significantly better than most of the ones released throughout, the entire history of superhero movies.
Okay.
And I'm honestly not exaggerating at all. If you're an avid MCU movie and TV watcher or just someone who loves reading about the criticism being directed towards Marvel Studios, maybe. I'm assuming you've been aware of at least some of the things that people have pointed out as far as them cutting corners when it comes to production, mostly in the form of bad CG or VFX. None of that is really noticeable in this movie at all. Like, this movie has the fucking balls to actually slow down several scenes, some of which are near perfect, updated recreations of iconic Spider-Man comic book covers. I mean, as someone who kind of likes to nitpick this kind of stuff, I just basically stopped doing that after we see a few of these scenes near the start of the movie, because they were just so incredibly detailed and well done. I think a huge part of the success with the visual design was that they adapted stunts and web slinging movements that were inspired by the recent Spider-Man video games that Sony Interactive developed. And they referenced wingsuit and parkour athletes. Not only for their movements, but also in how they filmed using GoPro cameras and associated equipment for action sports.
That's so cool.
Yeah, this work really comes through in the web slinging scenes in this movie specifically, which is pretty significant given that I've watched like 8 live action Spider-Man movies and also seen him in a few other MCU films at this point. Overall, the stunt work just seems so thoughtful. So I really was just in awe for a lot of the scenes. Again, this movie doesn't really shy away from adding a ridiculous amount of detail. Like in that one fight with the hand he has in the prison that you get a short glimpse of in the trailer. Holy shit. It's just insane how much thought was put into how to choreograph and shoot that scene alone. And the cinematography and lighting for this movie, even outside of the action scenes, was excellent. So much of this work helped to just set the tone for different scenes in the movie, which, is expected in superhero movies, I guess. But man, I just can't remember the last time it was this good and just felt that nearly every decision was intentional.
Definitely.
As far as sound goes, sound design for the overall movie was really top notch. I honestly thought I had superhero movie sound blindness by now, just based on the sheer number of these types of movies I've seen over the course of my entire life. But man, I remember even zeroing in on things like the sound of Punisher firing off an assault rifle because of all the work that the sound engineers did. I think the biggest win as far as all this kind of stuff goes was how the movie incorporates the changes that Peter goes through with his spider sense, which we kind of see a bit in the trailers. Also, the score and the soundtrack, especially with Spider-Man being one of the most youthful of the Marvel superheroes. I think it plays a much bigger role in these movies than in others. It's no different in this movie, where I think the score lends really well for some of the movie's most emotional moments, and the soundtrack is just perfect as the finishing touch in some of the movie's most fun moments. All I have left to talk about is the cast. Many are just returning from previous Spider-Man films and other MCU shows or movies, so I'll start off with new faces. Sadie Sink playing the worst kept secret of this movie, Jean Grey. I don't think it was entirely on board initially with how the first introduction of a mutant, or at least one that hasn't already made an appearance in the MCU, was going to go down. But I think, given that the X-Men are probably one of the more recognizable superhero teams where even casual fans have some idea of the usual characters, I think I am kind of more open to backstories or introductions that stray from the usual ones that we've been told time and time again. Tremel Tillman is Bill Metzger, the guy running damage control. I really like this character, given that as viewers were already suspicious of damage control.
Right.
Since they were introduced into the MCU, but Tremel plays Bill so likably that you really just forget that they're probably up to something behind the scenes. And the last actor to round out the new faces I wanted to mention, Eliza Colin-Zayas, who played Detective Jean DeWolf. It was cool that we had her in the movie as Spider-Man's connection to the NYPD, since I feel like it gives you a lot better context of how law enforcement and the public even feels about Spider-Man in general. Moving on to the returning cast. Fuck, man. Tom Holland.
Oh, my God.
I probably haven't mentioned it in the podcast yet, but I really do think he's the best at playing the complete character of both Spider-Man and Peter Parker. And this movie really does drive home that point. This fucker made me cry.
Oh, I know.
I'm a dude in my 40s and I cried during a live action Spider-Man movie, and I didn't even have to like tap into my own personal traumas to make it happen.
My God.
He just made me care about everything he was going through as both Spider-Man and Peter. Zendaya as MJ, even though I did question her initial casting way back in the first Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland and her, I quickly got to like her in this role, and I really enjoyed her in this specific movie, especially the scenes that she has with Punisher.
Me too.
And speaking of John Bernthal's Punisher, I like that even though he's definitely more amusing and even a bit noticeably softer in some moments playing the character in this movie, you could really feel the work that both he and the filmmakers put into making him feel not too different from the Punisher that we've experienced otherwise in the TV shows. And then Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds. I love to see him back again, and always great as Ned, even though I definitely feel like he had less to do in this movie compared to previous Spider-Man movies he was in. So moving on to my ratings, I give this a 5 for enjoyment.
Oh my God.
And a 4.5 for quality. I absolutely love this movie. It's definitely my favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Oh my God.
Definitely one of my top 5 MCU or MCU connected films.
Whoa.
And maybe even my favorite overall superhero movie of all time.
Dude, I didn't know that. That's incredible. Wow.
I mean, I honestly enjoyed it that much. I really do think it could be. I think the filmmakers and Tom Holland, since the start of this journey, have brought what I feel has been the most comics accurate Peter Parker and Spider-Man combined, at least in personality and heart. Beyond that, they weren't afraid to try something different with the storytelling and introduction of a major character that even old comic readers like myself have been apprehensive about before seeing the movie. And they proved they could make it work. So I was already so excited, looking forward to seeing what seemed like the MCU returning to its former glory over the past few projects. So seeing this movie following that up, and to serve as the last MCU connected movie leading into Avengers Doomsday of this coming December, all I got to say is, man, Marvel Studios, you better make me want to give a perfect score for both enjoyment and quality for that shit. Because I don't want to go back after this movie, man.
I know. Please don't make us.
Yeah. And quality was near perfect. The half-point introduction was a combination of both this movie not really having an outright villain, which I think in this specific case presented a problem, since anyone knowing anything about comics pretty much figured out who the antagonist of this movie was going to be ahead of time and realized that because of that, there probably wouldn't be a consistent villain through the story. So as good as it was still predictable, even though I will say that I still appreciated how they handled and kind of worked around all that. And because this movie is a part of an ongoing franchise and timeline in the context of what this movie means as far as setting up Avengers Doomsday, I think this movie was confusing because it barely sets anything up.
That's really true. Yeah.
I mean, sure, mutants and presumably the X-Men, but this isn't the same Jean Grey we're used to seeing in this movie.
Very different, yeah.
Plus, there's rumors that Spider-Man won't even be in Doomsday. So yeah, there's a lot to fill in, and I just hope they stick the landing. As far as my related recommendations go, I don't have any. Just go see this movie.
Yeah, see it, man.
Go see it. If you've already seen it, see it again.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Well, I loved it. I mean, this was a movie that I knew would be a little more grounded emotionally, but it really did a number on me. And I think one of the things I really appreciate about Brand New Day is that they really leaned into just how incredibly devastating it would be to have everyone forget you. I mean, obviously, we knew that was a sad thing that happened at the end of No Way Home, but this movie is like, no. We're actually going to deal with what would happen to a person. Peter has been living like this for 4 years. He's had 4 years of being lonely and isolated and just putting everything into his Spider-Man business. And that affects your whole life. And it seems very modern that Peter's having trouble facing a situation with his friends where he could be rejected. Instead, he's working, staying in, talking to AI, which, yeah, that feels about right. That feels like something a lot of people are dealing with right now. And I started wondering if being Spider-Man is actually making it easier for him to avoid his shit. You know, you're constantly out saving somebody else. You never have to go home and deal with yourself. That's something that's obviously been explored many times in the Spider-Man stories. But here they did certainly the best job I've seen on film dealing with the actual emotional toll of this. And when he does have to deal with it, yikes. Oh my God. Watching Peter interact with MJ and Ned, who used to know everything about him and now basically think he's just some guy, it was brutal. It was really brutal. Tom Holland is so good in these scenes. He's so natural and vulnerable. And there were at least, for me, 2 or 3 times where I was pretty teary. The flashbacks just make it worse because you see how close they all were.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Ned, MJ, seeing the way their lives progress is amazing. Ned nerding out about Spider-Man without realizing that Spider-Man is his best friend. Like, how is that both cute and devastating? This movie is doing a lot, and I love it. That's also why I think Frank Castle is such an interesting person to put next to Peter right now. I just love them together. They immediately have this big brother, little brother dynamic, except, you know, the big brother murders a lot of people. John Bernthal is so funny as Frank, which is crazy when you consider what the character normally is. But seeing him interact with Spider-Man, it seems to make him a little more vulnerable, maybe a little more self-aware. Frank, when you think about it, he's almost like a cautionary tale for Spider-Man. He's lost everyone. He's completely isolated himself and then replaced having a life with basically having a mission. Except Frank, he has no way of getting his family back. But as he points out to Peter, he does. MJ and Ned are right there. He bumps into them on the street. So when Frank is basically like, dude, I'm not your role model. You don't want this life. Yeah, it really hit. It was such a good contrast. And I think they do this really well with other supporting characters too. I think between Frank and Bruce Banner, they just picked 2 guys who are really great to put next to him. They remind you what makes Peter Peter instead of just feeling like, hey, look, it's another Marvel person. You've got the Hulk who's trying to control his anger and his unpredictability. then you've got the Punisher who's trying to control his deep sadness by trying to take out revenge. And you've got Spider-Man here. You've got Peter who's trying to control his world by just focusing on being Spider-Man. But I just really liked all these characters. I think, oh man, Mark Ruffalo settling into this corny professor version of Bruce, it just felt good. He feels like he has himself under control, which becomes pretty important because later in the movie, there's a lot of things addressed about the idea of control. And there's this one part where Bruce asks Peter essentially, what happens if you're trying to control something that needs to be expressed? I don't know. That really got to me because how much of Peter's problem in this movie is basically him trying not to feel something, just controlling the loneliness, the grief, and how these changes are happening to his body and his powers, which, by the way, I do not like organic web shooters. They are yucky. But I understand what they're doing here. You don't have to enjoy looking at your emotions, but you do have to face them and face the difficult situation you're in. And I think they did such a great job of telling that story of that evolution here with Peter. I mean, it's kind of crazy. He's literally like DNA evolving as he's emotionally evolving. So it's a pretty direct comparison. So I really loved those themes and how they played out. And Peter's loneliness, it just feels so modern. I love the way there's a Where is Spider-Man app. I think that's so cute. It's so fun. This is a world that feels lived in and similar to ours. I mean, there's fan fiction with superheroes. Come on. Just so much fun how they explore all these little things, but they still play into modern issues people have. Like, oh my gosh, I loved how they used social media posts to show time passing. You see clips that people have posted at 1 year, then the next year. And it reminded me, in old movies, they would do that by showing these montages of newspapers flying by with headlines. They don't even have to do that anymore because people just show their whole life online. So perfect. For Peter, that basically means he can sit there and just watch everybody he loves continue living without him. That was brutal. I also wonder, how's this movie going to resonate with younger people who went through COVID isolation during such an important time? I feel like that sometimes myself, and I'm middle-aged, you know? So I'd be really curious to hear how younger audiences respond to his loneliness, isolation, his relationship with social media. Okay, so after making this sound depressing and very, very serious, I should also mention this movie is incredibly fun. The soundtrack has both Bad Bunny and Tame Impala. Perfect. I love it. I will say, though, I wish Bad Bunny played a little longer, but I was happy he was there. I love seeing Michael Mando back as Scorpion. I think he is great in this role. Wish he got a little more screen time, but what are you going to do? There's all these funny jokes. There's one joke about potatoes that I'm going to think about every time I see a French fry from now on. And the action looks great. I love the opening. It's so cool how easy it is to track Spider-Man's target, even when everything's moving and it's incredibly chaotic. It's so beautifully choreographed. Then there's some truly incredibly staged fights. The one that you touched on too with the hand. Oh my God. They're basically using each other almost as human ladders, or like when you see competitive cheerleaders, you know, they're using each other's bodies as a mode of getting from point A to B, followed by Spidey using his webs in an absolutely balletic and unexpected way. Honestly, quality of the action isn't a surprise. The second unit director who is in charge of the action is Peng Zhang. He's been shaping action for years. Literally, his first job in the business was being Chow Yun-Fat's stunt double. He also worked on Shang-Chi, Wonder Man, so really great action again here.
Cool.
I can't talk about the villain too much. Like you were talking about, there's a lot of spoilers, but I will say I liked the mystery and where it eventually led to emotionally. So yeah, I think I expected Brand New Day to just be a movie about him more starting over. I didn't expect it to have so much time mourning the past and confronting things, but I loved it. I loved it. So for my scores for enjoyment, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Loved it. Made me laugh. I got teary more than once. Gave me basically everything I want in a big, fun superhero movie. And for quality, I also gave it a 4.5. I think it looks great. Tom Holland's performance, if we were being real, he would get nominated for an Oscar for this.
Yeah.
He is incredible in this role. Just his range, what he does both physically and emotionally.
I know that there's been some discussions in the past about certain comic book movies maybe being considered for Oscars, but I think this is really the first one where the acting is really driving part of the greatness too.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's obvious that it's with the visuals, but this is not one of those movies where all the effort is going into one aspect at all.
Right. And I think it's really a credit to the director who I love Shang-Chi. I think that's probably one of my favorite Marvel movies of the post-Endgame era. But he does such a beautiful job of just developing these characters and the environment. There's so many great cultural things that you would see in New York. People are getting banh mi. They're drinking ramune, the Japanese soda. Like there's so many little details that feel true to living in a big city like New York. I just think the tone is beautiful. I loved it. I loved it. And I'm so happy to see it's getting sold out in theaters because I think everyone should see it.
Thanks.
Spider-Man. Ugh. All right, folks. So the title's definitely doing a lot of heavy lifting. I Want Your Sex is the latest film from cult filmmaker Greg Araki. And it stars Olivia Wilde, Cooper Hoffman, Charlie XCX, Chase Sui Wonders, Daveed Diggs, Mason Gooding, Johnny Knoxville, Margaret Cho. I know that's a lot of names, but they're all great in it, so bear with me. The film follows Elliot. He's a directionless 20-something who lands a job working for renowned artist and, I'm going to say, provocateur, Erica Tracy. When Erica chooses him to become both her assistant and her sexual muse, Elliot is pulled into a world of desire, power, obsession, and blurred boundaries where relationships begin to affect every area of his life. So, Dish, what did you think?
This was definitely one of those movies that I saw based on the trailer, mostly because I think the first time we saw it, it was either one of the trailers before a movie or included in the weekly Rotten Tomatoes trailer compilation that happened to also include the trailer for The Invite.
Oh, yeah.
Which was the other movie Olivia Wilde was in and directed that we reviewed a few weeks ago. I think the major contrast between her two characters at least helped me to retain this movie in my memory. Also, I'm sure it helped that this was one of the few movies that premiered the same weekend as Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Right.
Since, at least near us, this seemed to be the only new movie coming out last weekend other than that. Regardless, I still was interested in seeing it. The trailer was fun. I really like the wild visual style, the costumes and sets. But also, being someone who probably associates Olivia Wilde more with her character Alex from the OC.
Oh my God.
I realized that this role was probably closer to that character than any other character she's played since. Sure, I mean, her character in the OC broke Seth Cohen's heart, but she was probably the edgiest person he'd ever date, right? Actually, seeing the movie, for the most part, it ended up being mostly what I expected. But I also appreciated that the writing, for the main characters anyway, was done really well. So that their personalities actually included some emotional depth.
Yeah.
And I really found some of the discussions that the characters have, especially the one between our two leads regarding the significantly higher level of apparent apprehension and or anxiety towards sex in general, as thoughtful inclusions to give some context to the sometimes unexplainable incidents and behavior that we witness in the movie. that definitely made the movie seem less superficial and forgettable. Even with that said, I think this movie primarily lives in the erotic comedy space, but later starts creeping towards thriller mystery territory. The further we get into the runtime, I think this was probably the most surprising aspect of the movie for me. Like, I spent a good part of this film just being amused and entertained by these characters, and I honestly didn't realize myself feeling anything for them until late into the movie.
Yeah.
But I think the steadily increasing amount of hints ended up accumulating in my brain, leading me to be like, there's obviously some other shit going on here besides this whole BDSM thing between this geeky assistant dude and his art lady boss. But yeah, as somebody who hasn't seen any other Greg Araki films, this at least has me interested in wanting to see some of his other movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I recognize the Doom Generation, which he also made, but I don't think I actually saw it back in the day, so maybe I'll check that out. Moving on to the cast, like I mentioned before, I pretty much only knew Olivia Wilde, and after seeing her in this movie, I do think the character that she plays, Erica Tracy, is like an older, maybe contemporary artist instead of trendy bar manager version of her character from the OC.
Yeah.
Even the character's progression through the story, or at least the way parts of her personality are revealed, parallel her character in the OC in some ways, which I thought was kind of interesting. Cooper Hoffman, I thought he was great in this movie as Elliot. I really felt like he portrayed the character with an almost adorable naivete.
Yeah.
But I think this character really gets interesting when he kind of begins to take back some control over his own life.
Yeah.
If not the situation later on in the movie. I honestly didn't even realize we previously saw him in The Long Walk, nor did I even know he was Philip Seymour Hoffman's son until you mentioned it.
Oh, that's right.
Moving on, Mason Gooding as Zap. I thought he was probably the second funniest character in the movie. And even though I really didn't get the impression early on, I think the friendship that he ends up having with Elliot is cute.
Totally cute. Yeah.
Daveed Diggs as Victor. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
He was killing me with all the faces that he'd make. They're great.
Oh, he's incredible.
Charlie XCX is Minerva. Oh my God. I just thought it was hilarious that she played the most uptight and opposite character of her actual personality.
She is not a party girl 365.
No, she is not at all. She is a study girl 365.
Yep.
I think I found her character even more amusing, having actually experienced some of my guy friends date people like her.
Oh my God.
Where you're actually wondering, like, seriously, why are you dating this person? Because they don't really care about you at all. And then Chase Sui Wonders, who played Apple, Elliot's roommate and best friend. I love that character. And I like how it seems like she's a good contrast to Elliot.
Yeah.
Because he's more upbeat and I would say maybe even optimistic, but she's obviously the more cynical one out of the two. But I think they have good chemistry as far as characters being roommates in this movie. There's no doubt the design elements from this movie probably stood out the most out of everything. As I mentioned from seeing the trailer, I love the set and costume design, a lot of bright, bold colors. And luckily, especially with Erica being at the center of most of what's happening in this movie, there's a lot of it to enjoy since her same characteristic style is carried over into her art pieces and various props in the movie too. Interestingly, that same style actually kind of extends beyond Erica and her spaces to even Elliot and Zap's apartments, which I noticed. Also kind of seem to have a bright, bold interior design. Lighting and cinematography in the movie also align well with the visual style, with the highlights being moments of high intensity and emotions, where they're leveraged for additional emphasis. I'd say the same situation is true with the sound in this movie being leveraged for emphasis. There's some background music at the gallery, and I think some of the scenes within the characters' homes as well, but otherwise, most of the soundtrack score and sound effects are used to amp things up in what I consider some of the more key scenes. Moving on to rating, I give this a 3.5 for enjoyment
Okay.
and a 4 for quality.
Mm.
While a lot of this movie is just very TLC, crazy, sexy, cool, I think we also grew up during a time where I feel like raunchy comedies were steadily being churned out by movie studios, specifically the time period between the late 90s throughout most of the aughts. So I guess a
Oh,
part of me
yeah.
was just expecting the Gen Z version of something like that, which I probably would have only given a 2.5 for enjoyment.
Mhm.
But the fact that this movie goes a bit deeper than that and almost even helps to provide some understanding for Gen Xers and millennials when it comes to Gen Z and their views on sex, dating, intimacy, etc. And that it was so fun, but also oddly serious in some
Well,
rare moments.
yeah, I know.
Were pretty much what bumped this movie up to a 3.5 for me. I'll also admit that after seeing Olivia Wilde play her character that I kind of hated in The Invite, then seeing her playing a stereotypical over the top sex forward artist that's her polar opposite, pretty much. I suppose that probably helped also.
Mm-hmm.
Quality, I think the movie was pretty well written and the actors did a great job portraying the
Yeah.
characters that the story called for. All of them clearly served a purpose in the course of telling the story or helping us better understand our leads.
Mhm.
The scale of the movie feels small, but I think it suits the characters and the story being told, as I don't think it really requires more than the settings that they're in and the events that take place in them over the course of the affair that Elliot and Erica have. And like I mentioned with my enjoyment score, I think the addition of some more serious and heartfelt moments, as well as incorporating some noticeable tonal shifts that I wasn't at all expecting, ultimately led me to giving this movie a 4 for quality. As
Nice.
far as related recommendations go, I'm going to recommend a movie that also has a story centered around sex and power dynamics
Ooh.
that stars the AMC queen, Nicole Kidman, which is 2024's Baby Girl.
Girl.
Nicole Kidman plays a high-powered CEO at a company that has an affair with one of the new young intern guys. I'll say it has more serious tone and probably is a bit lower quality than I Want Your
Yeah.
Sex, but definitely still fun if you're looking for something leaning more into the erotic thriller side of things. And it's a much watch if you've been as much of a fan as we have, watching Nicole Kidman, as well as some other actors we grew up take on roles that seem to be outside of their wheelhouse.
Yes. And
over
if
the
you
past
like
few
reading
years.
some good celebrity goss, just look up anything Nicole Kidman has said about making that movie.
Oh yeah, it was great. I think that was the highlight and the thing that drove us to want to see the movie. But yeah, what did you think about I Want Your Sex?
I loved it. I loved this movie. So, I Want Your Sex is actually the first Greg Araki movie I've seen,
Oh,
which is
okay.
kind of surprising because I remember hearing about him for basically the last 20 years. But it's funny, I keep hearing people say that this movie is one of his more conventional films, which I'm like, oh, wow, okay, this isn't that conventional. So, I can't wait to see some of his other work. I went into this expecting a sexy thriller with a mystery, in a little camp. But instead, 10 minutes in, I was like, oh my God, I'm having a blast. This is fun. It's heightened. It's messy. It looks fucking incredible. It's hilarious. Every time I thought it couldn't get any weirder, somehow they would find another gear to shift into, and I would just be sitting there grinning, like, what? Oh my God, what are they doing? And I think one of the big reasons I liked it is I feel like, in addition to what it's saying about sex and relationships, I also think that there is some satire on the art world.
Yeah, for sure.
But what I loved is that even though it's poking fun at these people, it's poking fun at what the art actually is and the way they talk about it. It doesn't feel like the movie's making fun of the people because it dislikes them. I get the feeling that the director also relates to them, like he's lovingly roasting his own people. It's almost like this big inside joke vibe. And I got to talk about Cooper Hoffman because this was probably my biggest surprise. So going into this, all right, I saw the trailer and my biggest question was, how are they going to convince me that Olivia Wilde's character, this sexy art world goddess would choose this dude. And somehow they totally sold me. His character is very sweet, very imaginative. He's awkward in a really genuine way. And he never feels like he's trying to impress her. Honestly, I don't know if anyone could impress her. Even in the first interview, it's cool. You can see how she's almost fascinated watching him squirm as she makes him uncomfortable because he's really reacting honestly instead of trying to perform it. What more could you ask for from a sub, I guess? By the end, I really bought their relationship as it was. And I genuinely didn't think that was something that was going to happen based on the trailer. Olivia Wilde, oh my God. I mean, we just saw her last movie and I loved her in that. I think this is my favorite of her performances. Now, she does look incredible. I have to talk about that. I was obsessed with her wardrobe, like every outfit, the jewelry, the hair. I wanted half of it. I'm not even talking about the sexy stuff. She wears this blouse that is just nothing but ruffles, but not in a girly way. It's somehow like a architectural ruffle vibe.
Yeah.
I was just stunned. I think she really makes the character work because even though she's playing a person who people like this exist, but they're heightened to a degree that most people wouldn't see. Still, she grounds it. She knows that she's a character of herself, still is able to be genuine. And she's constantly saying these ridiculous, pretentious art world things. But there's this little wink underneath that makes her really funny instead of exhausting. I thought the rest of the cast was amazing. Daveed Diggs killed me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but there is something he does with his neck. He'll tell a joke and then just toss his head in a certain way. It just was hilarious. Mason Gooding, this guy, he is someone I am always happy to see. He is fantastic. I really loved Chase Doing Wonders and Charlie XCX. I think they both did a really great job. I mean, just everyone really commits to this heightened world, but still with a lot of humanity. So, I mean, perfect. That's exactly what I love to see. And you know what surprised me too? By the end, I wasn't really thinking about the movie as being about sex anymore. Obviously, there's a lot of sex in it, but I was thinking of more about the story that's underneath it. The director said actually the idea for the movie came from hearing about a lot of young people today being afraid of dating, intimacy, making mistakes, and putting themselves out there. He wanted to make this movie to address that and show that sort of divide. And you can absolutely see it in Elliot. I mean, early on, he talks about how his generations become very protective of themselves. Like vulnerability is scary. Making mistakes are scary. Being judged is scary. But I don't think the movie is saying, hey, just go have sex. It'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think it's saying don't be so afraid of the messiness that comes with opening yourself up to people. Because, yeah, sex is messy, literally and figuratively. But so are relationships. So is art. So is putting yourself out there. And that's kind of what Elliot has to learn throughout the movie. And there's a mystery in this movie. I feel like we barely talk about it. There's twists. And you can see in the trailer, Elliot does end up talking to police. I won't spoil anything beyond that. But it was funny. I really didn't care about the mystery that much. I didn't even need a plot to enjoy this. I would have happily watched 6 episodes of these people exploring their sexuality, working on weird art, arguing, making bizarre installations. Like, I really loved this setting and these characters so much. And the dialogue, very funny. The ending also, not getting into details, but wow. At the end, I realized Erica's not just making art. I feel like she experiences the entire world as art.
Yes.
Like sex is art, relationships are art, embarrassment is art, all of it. Half the movie, I was laughing at how over the top she was. And by the end, I ended up feeling like, you know what? Fair enough.
True.
She completely commits to seeing the world that way. She's honest about it. And the movie commits just as hard to its own weirdness. Oh, I just love movies that commit. You know, it's not afraid to be funny and insane. I don't know. I really liked this movie. So for my ratings for enjoyment, I gave it a 4.5.
Nice.
I had a complete blast. You just have to see it. It's incredible. Yeah, love it. For quality, I gave it a 4. It's smart, it's confident, performances are great. The set design, the costume design, incredible. I don't think it's perfect. Maybe the mystery could have been strengthened a bit, but it's still way richer and more thoughtful than I think the title or even the trailer lets on. So really, really loved it. Awesome movies this week.
Yeah, I figured you would really enjoy that one more than me based on just the fashion in it.
Oh my God, I was obsessed. I just couldn't get enough. Yeah, incredible movies.
We're moving on from some very heightened design type stuff to a hole in the ground.
True. Okay, shifting gears.
Let's move on to TV.
All right,
we'll
let's
talk
do
about
it.
Silo. All right.
Cool. Hey, Sush.
Yeah.
Do you think Spider-Man can make organic webs long enough to get himself to the bottom of the silo?
Maybe, but he'd be pretty exhausted, I think.
Yeah.
Depleted or whatever.
What is going on over at the silo this week?
Well, actually, a shit ton happened. But
oh my God, I know.
Before I get into the episode, just to prevent any confusion for those who haven't actually seen or heard about the episode yet, I want to mention that this specific episode is comprised mostly of flashback scenes from the time between Juliet and Bernard were rescued from the incinerator at the end of last season to pretty much the beginning of the main timeline at the start of this season. However, we do get one scene from the flashback timeline with Daniel and Helen to close out the episode. So just be aware of that.
Double flashbacks.
Yeah. All right. The episode opens with the events that unfolded after the airlock fire concluding the previous season. Juliet and Bernard are rescued alive from the burning chamber by Shirley, Knox, and other allies. The pair are carried through Silo 18 as residents watch, believing both survivors will be taken for treatment. We cut back to the present momentarily as we see Bernard filling Juliet in on these events in the bed where she found him at the end of the last episode. She asks him how he ended up down there, and in that moment, Robert Sims enters just in time to respond, "How the fuck do you think?"
Yeah, so good.
Oh, man. We continue recapping the aftermath of the rescue as Camille Sims receives instructions from the algorithm identifying Juliet, Bernard, and Lucas Kyle as dangerous threats. She assigns Robert to deal with Bernard. Robert initially appears to comply, sealing Bernard in plastic as contaminated bodies are prepared for disposal. However, Bernard tells him that Juliet possesses knowledge that could prevent the destruction of Silo 18. Convinced that Bernard may be telling the truth, Robert spares him at the last moment. Robert then secretly recruits Martha and Carla. Together, they fake Bernard's death, divert his body before it reaches the incinerator, and hide him in the abandoned digger void. While Bernard recovers, Robert begins building a covert resistance network, quietly promoting the idea of making Juliet mayor, believing her public popularity will make her harder to eliminate. He also arranges for Juliet's memory-suppressing medication to be replaced and begins collecting relics from her past in hopes of restoring her memories. The episode then returns to the present, showing Bernard and Robert explaining everything to a stunned Juliet. She learns that Robert has been protecting both of them for months and that a secret group of allies has formed around the goal of uncovering the truth about the silos and preventing the algorithm from carrying out its plans. Meanwhile, Martha, passing on what she learned from Bernard while helping with his recovery, reveals to Shirley and Knox that there are roughly 50 silos, expanding their understanding of the world beyond Silo 18. Yeah. But it seems Martha had an ulterior motive for appearing at their door, asking for their help to move Bernard as well. Also, following this, we have our first encounter with Sheriff Billings in the episode, as he continues his investigation into Orla Kent's murder. After spending the night camping out in her office, he finally speaks with Carla McLean. She's initially dismissive towards him, but once Billings tells her Orla's been murdered, her mood immediately changes and she starts saying, "It's my fault." Elsewhere, following an earlier scene showing them bickering as they journey deeper into the silo together, Lucas Kyle and Patrick Kennedy, in their effort to catch up with Juliet, are surprised by Robert, who just happens to be with her, and eventually includes the two of them in the growing resistance effort. The group next appears at Martha's, where Robert leads Julia to a collection of personal belongings gathered from her past as she examines relic after relic, hoping something will trigger the memories she lost. The group continues to come up with ideas in an attempt to restore Juliet's memories, even bringing in other relics tied to her previous partner, George Wilkins, but at best, they produce only fragments of recollection. Following up with Billings, we see Carla escorting him to Critical Supply, which specifically contains supplies that have been there since the start of the silo. Items which have a limited supply and are irreplaceable, she reveals, have been disappearing from storage. We then cut briefly to Shirley and Knox appearing at Bernard's hideout to relocate him, which leads Shirley to take the opportunity to confront Bernard about the atrocities he's committed against the other residents of the silo. But she soon realizes Bernard truly believed he made the only choice he could at the time, as he doesn't seem bothered by the idea of them taking things out on him. Back at Critical Supply, Carla reveals that one of the reasons she hired Orla as Shadow was to have her look into the theft that she realized was occurring. Hearing this, Billings realizes that Orla's investigation into those thefts may have led to her murder, as Carla makes it clear that they basically have about 2 years until their supply of light bulbs runs out. Then their civilization faces their inevitable end.
It's almost like if they didn't keep zonking out their memories, then people could maybe invent light bulbs with their resources. But
I guess. I don't know. As the episode nears its climax, Juliet and Robert begin heading back up through the silo. During their journey, Robert returns George's Duck Pez dispenser, a relic that he's been keeping for months, to Juliet, and the object has an immediate effect. Holding it triggers a flood of memories connected to George, Silo 17, Solo, and the safeguard system. As we see Camille and a couple raiders heading down the stairs, Juliet finally remembers the deadly poison release mechanism that can exterminate an entire silo and recalls that there may be a way to stop it, leading to Robert telling her to leave to continue her quest to gain a better understanding of the memories returning to her that will hopefully ensure their survival.
Wow.
Closing out the episode, we get our only scene in the flashback timeline where we catch up with Daniel and Helen. They're driving in a minivan with Daniel mentioning someone named Per Stenson, who happens to be the #1 advocate for AI control and funds the clinic Charlotte was sent to, also being involved in the operation that resulted in her ending up there. So as they head to a contact Sam believe would help them, Daniel suddenly loses control of the minivan, as someone or something has apparently taken control.
Oh, man.
So, Ashley, what did you think about this episode?
Oh, my God. What a fucking episode. I feel like this was one of those episodes where every 5 minutes I was going like, oh, that's what they're doing. It just felt like puzzle piece after puzzle piece snapping into place. Not in a way where they're over explaining everything either. Just everybody finally knows one tiny piece of truth. And once they all end up literally in the same room, suddenly the whole picture takes shape. I just loved it. And okay, can we talk about Robert Sims? Because I never would have guessed he'd become one of the most interesting characters on the show. Incredible. His entrance? Yes. He has some great moments. The moment where someone uses a lighter and he comes out of the shadows and surprises them. Incredible. Last week, I was sitting there going, how the hell did this guy get here? Why is he helping Juliet? And then this episode goes, oh, you wondered in the last one? Here's exactly how.
Jeez, man. It's like
Watching
all the
him
things that we've been wondering.
Yes. Are they listening? No.
Yeah, no.
But watching him slowly realize the horror of what Camille's learned, trying to save Bernard, but also trying to save Juliet, trying to protect his son. I don't know, man. It just made him so much more human.
Yes.
And then, the moment at the end where Camille is like a floor up looking down at him, you can just tell she knows something's up. Like that look was terrifying. I can't wait to see what happens next week.
Yeah, man.
Also, Bernard, weirdly, more self-aware than I expected when he's confronted by Shirley and Knox about essentially framing them for murder. He's like, hey, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'll get it if you kill me. He just was like, very straightforward. Tim Robbins is so good in those scenes after the incinerator. You see him in a way you've never seen this character
No, you
before.
really do believe that moment where Juliet tells him that there's a chance, that it completely changes the outlook on what's possible for everybody living in the silos. He really does just put everything into trying to get her back. Yeah.
Is incredible. And you can really feel that what he learned in the vault. I thought it was interesting. He called the algorithm the voice. So I guess different people call it different things.
Yeah.
That really broke him interacting with that. He's still manipulative as hell.
Yeah.
But for the first time, he feels scared instead of just smug. I just think it's a really good performance. Martha, absolutely continuing to be an MVP. Every time she's on screen, she's either the smartest person in the room or gets the funniest line.
Yeah.
Like her calling Bernard 250 pounds and a pain in the ass. That killed me. I loved it.
I like how automatically it was just like, oh, okay, it's Bernard.
Yeah.
She did have to outright come out and say, I need you guys to move something. It's about 250 pounds and a pain in the ass.
Oh, that was great. The writing is great.
Oh, yeah.
Another writing choice that I thought was really smart is how Juliet gets her memories back. It's a watch, and the way they sort of show it, it's wrapped up in fabric, and she delicately opens it, and then she touches it. It's like instantaneous.
But I do find that it's weird that they make that item not completely bring everything back. Like it takes the Pez dispenser to finally make it click, I guess.
Yeah, and I liked with the Pez dispenser that it's sort of at the center of her relationship with Robert, you know, because he's been hanging on to this and gave it to his son, hoping that one day his son would remember him after his wife releases vitamin D. That's so beautiful. Then finding out memories aren't triggered by information, they're triggered by emotion connected to objects. Just love it. Rebecca Ferguson is so good in this episode. Oh my God. She is so good. Half the time she isn't saying anything. She's looking at these relics with this curiosity, and she tenses up the way she tries to pull away from them when she feels like there's something upsetting about them. It just is beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, they have 2 years until they start dying in the dark.
Yeah, after they run out of light bulbs, Here's
the thing. Wouldn't there be some other I'm really stuck on the light bulbs. But it just shows how much the founders weren't thinking fully ahead. Yeah. Because if they knew they had a limited amount of time, they should have taught the people how to make some form of light. They should have thought about that. That's like a basic thing for their survival. So it makes me think that this plan was not thinking about the people as much as it says
they keep wiping everybody's memories.
Exactly. It just sort of is adding another check on the box of, oh, this isn't saving them. This is some evil shit, probably. So that was interesting. And I liked that they sort of teased DC. The DC storyline gets like 4 minutes. I looked it up. I thought that was really cool. It was basically another cliffhanger. They've been doing this almost every episode.
I looked at it differently, but I'll get into that a little bit.
Oh, okay,
cool. When I mention it.
Yeah, but it almost makes me wonder if next week is going to be a mostly DC episode. Since we didn't get a full taste of both here, it would make sense for them to focus on it. I would love that because I want to know more about this AI conspiracy, the phone call from his friend, all of this. So Just overall, really fun episode.
Yeah.
I think it's my favorite of the season so far. Really good.
Yeah, same here.
So tell me, I want to hear what you thought.
Well, I honestly don't know if I've experienced a better start to an episode of the show.
Oh my God, yes.
Or maybe any TV series. But at this point, it's like a pattern this season of each major reveal pretty much just giving way to one or more even bigger reveals. And now this pattern has kind of been confirmed with this episode. I mean, the episode just opens with a trifecta of reveals.
Oh my God.
You got Crispy Bernard filling us in on the events that took place immediately following the last season's finale.
Yeah.
Which includes witnessing a moment that seems to mark the start of this miracle return by Juliet that kind of gives us some insight on how we got some residents pretty much worshiping her as some sort of messiah.
Oh my God.
And the hilarious confirmation that Robert did, in fact, help Bernard hide out in the Digger Void after convincing everyone he died in the incinerator room or killed him before taking him out. Like the show was trying to misdirect us into believing earlier in the season. With him responding to Juliet, asking Bernard, how did you end up down here with how the fuck do you think? Oh my God, that killed me.
So good.
Beyond that, I really love the structure of the episode. Since there was something that felt really natural about the storytelling, even with cutting between flashbacks and the main or current Silo timeline. It was really cool following along from seeing everything that happened between the end of the last season and the start of this season, and it all flowing directly from those events into the ones taking place currently, like how Bernard telling Martha everything about the silos and radios as she's aiding him in his recovery, leading to her sharing that info with Shirley and Knox when she visits them to ask for their help to move him. Or how we have Lucas and Patrick pursuing Juliet deeper into the silo, only to run into Robert and Juliet on their way to Martha. So they basically just join the group and all show up at her door. I thought that was pretty amusing, especially with so much of the show this season being focused on separate investigations and storylines and them coming together, sometimes with the people involved literally coming together, like in this instance. Since I have this growing suspicion that not only do the main storylines involving Juliet and her memories and Camille and the algorithm connect to the flashback timelines conspiracy that Daniel and Helen are uncovering, but even like Orla's murder might have something to do with everything going on. Is really made this episode one that's really critical to watch and connects a lot of things. Even though we only get one scene from the flashback timeline, it was really cool to finally kind of have a connection between what's happening with this conspiracy and the algorithm and the current Silo timeline. Still, at least in the flashback timeline, I think it's implied that there's still people behind the application of this AI. It's not just sentient and making decisions on its own yet. And it seems like there's still some of that happening in the current Silo timeline, at least in Silo 1. But I really wonder how much. As usual, all around great acting. But obviously the biggest highlight in this episode was Common. Oh my God, it's crazy how the writers were able to completely flip his character around with everything revealed in this episode. But I think what's even more impressive is Common's portrayal of the character and the ability for us to look back at the earlier interactions between him and the others and see them in a different light. But it doesn't cause us to think any less of the performance, knowing that it works from both points of view. So above all else, I'm just excited that we're literally going into the second half of the season with Juliet getting most of her memories back, so we can finally just move forward with her and the rest of this growing resistance, figuring out how to face Camille as she carries out the orders of the algorithm. There's definitely a part of me that kind of questions why Camille still thinks she has to carry out the algorithm's orders, but I'm hoping, especially giving that knowing look that her and Robert exchanged near the end of the episode, that either he clues her in on everything once they confirm how they can fight back, or she somehow finds out and they all just start working together towards the comic
Yeah,
book.
I'm curious what's going to happen. Because we know that Camille will shift sides.
There was one thing I kind of questioned from this episode that I wasn't personally able to confirm any relevance of. So I just wanted to bring it up. Why were some of the scenes in black and white?
I think that was in the silo flashbacks.
Okay, because at the beginning of the episode, we see Shirley and Knox rushing to the incinerator. Everything's in black and white. But when they finally get the door open, I think that's when it changes to color.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know if the color is like the point that we haven't seen yet, maybe, or are unaware of. But I can't recall if this happened at any other point in the episode. But hey, this is a really good episode and a lot happened. So who knows? Maybe I'll rewatch it and keep an eye out. But if it was more than one instance, I know it was at least rare.
Yeah.
Since it wasn't something that was consistently occurring throughout the episode or anything like that. But yeah, great episode. I'm just really looking forward to everything unfolding because it seems like we're starting to do more of that.
Yay. Can't wait.
Cool. Ashley,
Yeah.
what are we watching next?
We're going to be watching Super Troopers 3 and One Night Only.
Oh my God, finally we'll be free of that damn trailer. I swear, if I got to see that Callum dude's sour looking face one more but yeah, for TV, we'll be moving on to episode 6 of Silo, which I'm sure will be eventful given that we finally revealed everything that took place between the seasons.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys. We really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us weirdos.
And just want to remind everybody to subscribe, rate, and review positively, like how pretty much everyone in the entire universe has been responding positively to Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Oh, yeah.
Besides that, follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Other than that, thank you once again. And we will check you out next week.
Bye, guys. Have a good week.
Bye.
Laughter in the air, friendships touch. Movies and delights, we'll share so much. Let's enjoy this side.